Welcome to the Performing Arts Series brought to you by the Kennedy Center and Prince William Network. My name is Bobby Sanabria. The piece we are about to play is Be-Bop by the great Dizzy Gillespie. Today's program is interactive, and you will have an opportunity to ask questions of us later in the program by using the 800 number or email address appearing on your screen. We hope to hear from you during the broadcast. Let me introduce you to my great band. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our great pianist, Mr. John Martino. On the acoustic bass, the great Andy Eulau. El Único. On the tenor, soprano saxophones and flutes, Mr. Jay Collins. Yours truly, my name is Bobby Sanabria on the drums. Is everybody ready? Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Ah, 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 Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, that was a style of music called Be-Bop. It's a branch of jazz that was developed by the great trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie in the 1940s. Not hip-hop, but Be-Bop. What Be-Bop did was push the limits of the jazz musician as an improviser. They had to develop virtuosic technique so they could play at incredibly fast, blistering tempos. They had to develop a new harmonic knowledge where you might hear a simple chord like this. All of a sudden, the chords became richer like this. And that gave the musicians more choices in terms of notes that they could use to improvise. I've been using that word improvisation, improvise, a lot. That is the basis, the canon, the root of what the jazz musician does. They improvise for you, telling you stories through their instruments. Now, all of you here do this in your own way. Everybody here is an improviser. When you have a conversation with your parents, when you have a conversation with your teachers, your friends, or other family members, you improvise, set on a basic theme, okay? The theme might be your schoolwork, or what you plan to do if you want to try out for the football team, track team, the drama department at the school, etc. You have a theme, and then you improvise a conversation. That's what we do as jazz musicians. Now, you heard a lot of complex rhythms that I was playing on the drum set. Dizzy Gillespie was a big fan of these rhythms. These particular rhythms that I was playing came from the island of Cuba. Now, who got Dizzy Gillespie turned on to these rhythms? Well, in 1939, Dizzy played with a great orchestra by the name of Cab Calloway in his band, in his orchestra. He was a singer, and in that orchestra, the lead trumpet player was a man from Cuba, Mario Bauza. Dizzy was in the band, and they were roommates, and Mario taught Dizzy about the rhythms of his homeland, Cuba. And Dizzy Gillespie became a champion of this new fusion that was created by Mario Bauza in the 1940s called Latin jazz, specifically Afro-Cuban jazz. All right, let's talk a little bit about those rhythms. Where did these rhythms come from? Well, look at these drums over here. These drums are a direct link to West Africa. The conga drums, they come from drums descended from a people known as the Bantu from Zaire in West Africa. The shape and the way that we play them today developed on the island of Cuba, the largest island in the Caribbean. Now, what did we inherit from West Africa? The concept of playing many rhythms all at the same time, intertwining to move you and groove you and make you shake what your mama gave you. This concept is called polyrhythms. It means many rhythms. But we also inherited from West Africa the concept of polymeters, counting these rhythms in different ways to give us more choices in terms of the complexity of the rhythms. But we always have a foundation. We're going to show you how this concept was developed in West Africa. First, we have a simple rhythm that John's going to play for you on the cowbell. 1, 2, ready, go. Everybody clap with John. Watch his hands. Stay with him. He's going to play a little bit louder so you can hear him. Pretty good. That's our foundation, a simple rhythm. Now Andy's going to play another rhythm on another cowbell. Ah, ah, ah. Now Jay's going to play another rhythm. Now we add the mighty conga drums. Stay with John, stay with John, stay with John. Now we add the human voice. Ogundere arere ile bombon lokoa ogungwanile okegwalona ile bombon lokoa ogundere arere ile bombon lokoa ogungwanile okegwalona ile bombon acho wewe ogunde ogungarere bamba acho wewe ogunde sara coco ogunde arere cobaileo sara coco ogunde arere cobaileo sara coco ogunde ago sara coco ogunde. Good. How about giving these guys a big round of applause? Give yourselves a round of applause also. Great, fantastic. So now you know how we inherited all these great rhythms and these drums especially. They came from West Africa and they were brought to the island of Cuba and spread throughout the whole Caribbean and Central and South America. And the music from West Africa, as you heard, is still sung today in many places like in Cuba. But what happened in the United States when West Africans were brought over and unfortunately made slaves? Well, the slave owners in the United States were a little bit different than the Spanish slave owners in the Caribbean. Unfortunately, in the United States, they didn't let people of African descent sing in their native languages, speak in their native languages, and they didn't let them play drums. All of this stuff was outlawed. But people of West African descent still remembered the melodies. They couldn't sing, Woko Yale, Woko Yale Yalumaho, Yale, Omiabe, Ayama Omio. But they could hum the melodies. Mm-hmm. 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 This became the foundation of the music that we know today as the blues. We're very fortunate because this is the year of the blues. So you're hearing the blues a lot on the radio. But the blues is a particular style of music, and we want to give you an example of it. What's important that you have to remember is that the blues tradition is part and parcel of all of the music that you love today. Jazz, rock, funk, R&B, and even hip-hop. But let's go way back, and play a traditional blues for you. Now, the blues has a particular type of harmony, and that's outlined by the bass. Listen to Andy as he plays a typical blues bass line. A 1, chicka 2, chicka 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you want to snap your fingers to this walking bass line, there you go, you got it, you feel it. Yeah. Let's get hipper. Let's add the dulcet tones of the piano. Yeah, yeah. Let's add the drums. So this is the feeling that we call swing. It sounds like it's moving back and forth, forth and back. Keep snapping your fingers, ladies and gentlemen, and feel the blues. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now the blues is the expression of the African American experience in the United States. So let's hear Jay, our saxophonist, sing a little bit of the blues. Here we go, Jay.
Kansas City, here I come. Gonna do Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one.
Yeah, one more once, Jay.
When you say me come in, raise your window high. See me coming, raise your window high. When you see me going, baby, hang your head and cry.
Oh, let's let the piano talk. On the soprano saxophone. One more once, Jay. One more once. Soprano saxophone. Everybody say yeah! Now everybody here feels the blues at one time or another. That's nothing new. Everybody feels the blues. So, since everybody's felt it, sing the blues with me. Sing what I sing. First listen and then you sing. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey. Let me tell you the news. I got the blues. Everybody's screaming. Okay, I know you felt it. I know you felt it. That feeling of moving forward and backward in the rhythm, that's what we call swing. And of course, that is the basis of jazz rhythm. And the harmonies that we improvise over. The blues tradition is the foundation. So all good jazz musicians have a good background in all of the different types of blues styles. If you listen to rock music, the basic harmonies are the blues. If you listen to hip hop, the phrasing in the voices, R&B and rock and funk, the phrasing in the voices comes from the blues. That means the blues is part of all of you here, whether you know it or not. And of course, since you've all felt the blues, I don't even have to go any further. Now, let's go to the Caribbean, where I'm from. Puerto Rico, where my roots are from. Cuba, the Dominican Republic, the coast of Colombia, Venezuela, etc. When these rhythms from West Africa were brought by the Spanish conquistadores, when they unfortunately chained our African brothers and sisters and brought them as slaves to the Caribbean, they did one wise thing that didn't happen here in the United States. They let people of African descent play their rhythms, play their drums, and speak their languages. For example, in Cuba, you might hear somebody say to you in Havana, "Oye, abre cutigüini endinga," which is Congolese for open your ears and listen to what I have to say. Or somebody that works near the docks in Havana might say, "Oye, monina ma chévere, quiñongo ma chévere, acere monina, how are you, my brother, how are you today?" That is the language of Efik from West Africa in Nigeria. Now, when those rhythms and that particular way of speaking and the music, the chants, etc., met the music that the Spaniards had brought over from southern Spain, an interesting thing happened, especially on the island of Cuba. New musics started to evolve. We're going to play a style of music for you now from Cuba, from the late 19th century. It's known as Danzón. The word literally translates into grand or great dance. And in this music, you're going to hear the traditions of Europe represented by Beethoven, Mozart, Liszt, Haydn, etc. in the harmonies and melodies. And you're going to hear the deep funk of West Africa also in the rhythm. Okay? So, sit back and enjoy this beautiful piece of music written by our pianist, Mr. John D. Martino, in dedication to the great Italian film director Federico Fellini, entitled Danzón for Fellini. And you're going to hear Jay on the flute. Improvise, that word we talked about before, with elements of the jazz tradition. mademoiselle. You are so beautiful. Won't you be my Valentine? Mademoiselle, como te gusta el rico danzón, pero a mí me gusta el ritmo número 1 de Cuba, el rico son montuno. How about a big round of applause for Jay on the soprano and flute? John on the piano. And the whole Quarteto Ache. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Everybody having a good time so far? Great, great. Now we're gonna have a better time. Listen to these 5 beats. In one way or another, all of you are tied together by these 5 beats. Clap them, but softly. These 5 beats are called la clave. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. The softer you clap, the better you'll be in the groove with me. Now these 5 beats are called la clave, the key rhythm to the music of Cuba and many other forms of music, believe it or not. And we're gonna show you how these 5 beats that originally came from West Africa through southern Spain to Cuba, got to New Orleans, Louisiana, and to all of the music that you love today. We're gonna play with these 5 beats a style of Cuban music known as son that was born on the eastern part of the island. The son, or folk song tradition of Cuba, is the root of what we call salsa today. Many of you have heard of the music of the Buena Vista Social Club. Well, that's one of the styles of music that they play. Now, we're gonna play an old song for you called El Manicero, the peanut vendor. It was the first song that came from Cuba to the United States in 1930, and believe it or not, it was a big, incredible hit. So this music has been part of our culture for many, many years. First, we're gonna cue in the piano. Everybody listen. 1, 2, go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now that we got your attention, we're gonna cue in the bass. Aha! The bass plays a part that we call tumbao, that makes you move and groove. Now, we're gonna cue in Jay on the flute to give the tie to Europe. Again, another fusion of West African rooted rhythm and European melody. And of course, we can't leave out the melody, so we add the human voice. Money, Manicero se va. That sounds so good, I want to dance. Money. Caserita, si te quieres divertir, compra tu cucurucho de maní. Qué rico es el maní, qué rico es el maní, qué rico es el maní. Aha! Es el maní. Now listen to the rhythm. Now everybody clap with me. Faster. Now we go to the Caribbean city of New Orleans, Louisiana, the Caribbean city of the United States, where the clave beat still exists to this day in the music that you hear in New Orleans. Keep clapping. Now we're gonna go to the music that I heard growing up in the Bronx. The music of the 60s and 70s, funk. Keep clapping, you're gonna hear how the clave is in this music. Now let's go to the music that was born in the projects where I grew up in the South Bronx, when blacks and Puerto Ricans got together. The music that we call hip hop. Get busy, So, as you can hear through the clave, everyone here is related in one way or another. That means the person sitting next to you, behind you, in front of you, is either your brother or your sister. So our main message is today, don't look at the differences that you see in each other, but look at the things in common that you see in each other. Because when you get on the dance floor and you groove to the beat, there is no color in your heart or your soul. That's our message for today. Besides teaching you about all of these great musics, great rhythms. Okay, now, before we go any farther, I would like to invite our viewers to start calling in with questions. The phone number is 1-800-672-0067. That's 1-800-672-0067. Or you can email your questions to pwninfo@aol.com. Let us hear from you. So, we have an email question. How did you develop independence between your, can I see the rest of the email? I guess that means arms and legs. Yep, between your arms and legs. To play the drums. How did I develop the independence, the ability to do different things with the limbs? And also, what exercises would you recommend to a young percussionist? Well, the thing is, in terms of all of the things that I do, all of you have the ability to do this because you all do different things at the same time. You're walking down the street, you're talking with somebody, you're moving your hands, and sometimes you're thinking about something else, or 2 or 3 things at the same time. So that means you all have coordinated independence. The only thing is, if you want to become a good drummer or a good percussionist, you have to develop it on the instrument. So there are various simple things that you can do. You can do them even without having an instrument. For example, the example of walking. Everybody stand up and do this. Now try doing this. Watch. Okay, keep walking, stomp your feet so I can hear you. Okay, do this. Do this. Okay? Stay with me. Now do this. Hey. Okay. Right there, you just did 3 things at the same time. So all of you have the ability to do this. So that's a simple exercise I just gave you. That answers the second part of the question. How do you develop it more? Find yourself a good teacher. A good teacher, because you can always get there 10 times faster with a good teacher guiding you. Our next question comes from the audience. Yes, young man, tell us your name.
Jeremy.
Hi, Jim. Hey, fellas, say hi to Jim. Hi, Jeremy. Hey, you guys are wise guys. All right, go ahead, Jim. Go ahead with your question.
Which musicians influenced all of you guys the most?
Which musicians influenced all of us? Well, John, you can start with that.
Well, I have three pianists that are favorite of mine. Bill Evans and Herbie Hancock and Hank Jones. But a lot of other people I'm influenced by, but just in terms of piano, just to simplify that question.
And here we have Andy.
The first acoustic jazz bass player that influenced me was Ron Carter. He was the one that really got me into the sound of the bass. And since then, of course, I've studied just about all of them. Ray Brown is a big influence on me, as is Paul Chambers. But every musician that I ever hear at this point influences how I play and how I learn music. That's where I learn music from.
And Jay, what about you? You play a variety of instruments that are all related. The saxophones and the flute are part of what we call the woodwind family. So tell us who's influenced you.
When I was younger, I first started playing saxophone. The people who got me started, got my ears really going, was Lester Young, Grover Washington, and Charlie Parker, also known as Bird.
Great. And as far as I'm concerned, I had a couple of influences. When I was younger, I listened to the great conga drummer Mongo Santamaria, who just recently passed away. And one of my dreams was to perform with him and play with and record with him, and I did that right out of college. I became his drummer and timbale player. And the timbales are these drums that you play standing up that many of you have seen Tito Puente perform. And Tito Puente was another big influence on me when I was a kid. He influenced me into studying music because I had found out that he composed and arranged the music. That means he wrote it out. All of the musicians that played for him played what he wrote, and he had studied at the great Juilliard School of Music in New York City. He also played piano, and he played vibraphone, this instrument that looks like a metal xylophone. And then the great jazz drummers that I saw on TV, like Louis Bellson and Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa, and the drummers that came up also in the period called the jazz rock fusion period in the 70s, the great drummer Billy Cobham, who I found out later he happened to be Latino. He was from Panama. So those were my influences. Okay, we have another question, and this one is an email question. Do you have a favorite percussion instruments? Well, I love all of the instruments. I started off playing when I was a kid, congas, but this is my favorite instrument, the drum set. And you could probably see why, because you use all of your limbs, all of your limbs. It's very challenging. And we have a question from the audience.
Yeah.
What's your name? What's your name?
Bart.
Mark?
Bart.
Bart.
Yes.
Like Bart Simpson, right?
Yeah, like
that.
that.
I bet you get that a lot. Sorry. But
Yeah.
What's happening, man? Tell us your
weird.
question.
How'd you get started playing the drums?
Oh, that's a great question. Great question. Well, I don't know if you know, well, maybe I mentioned it before. I grew up in a neighborhood in New York City called the South Bronx. I'm from the PJs, from the projects, from the Melrose projects in the South Bronx. And during the 60s and 70s, the South Bronx, even though it was the symbol of urban decay across the country, it was the most multicultural, hippest neighborhood to have grown up in, because we had funk, rock, R&B, doo-wop, and of course the music of Latin America, particularly the music of Cuba. And I happen to be of Puerto Rican descent, and Cuba is our sister island. So in the summertime, imagine this in the summertime, right, in the projects. In any Hispanic neighborhood in New York, you would hear a style of Cuban music being played in the parks called rumba. Now, rumba has a particular specific style in it called guaguancó. And the clave in guaguancó is a little bit different than the clave that you would clapping out before. Listen to, if you can hear the difference. I'm going to give Jay the tempo. That sets the tone. Now we add the palitos, or cáscara, or cata, sticks that accompany the rhythm. We can add other instruments like the cowbell. And of course, we add the mighty conga drums. And then we add the final element, the human voice. Vamos rumbero que la rumba ya va a empezar. Vamos rumbero que la rumba ya va a empezar. Vamos rumbero que la rumba ya va a empezar. Vamos rumbero que la rumba ya va a empezar. Ajá, ya va a empezar, óyelo bien, allá va a empezar, échale candela, ya va a empezar, oye bien, allá va a empezar, oye, ya va a empezar, ven pa' acá, ya va a empezar, baila los mulatas, ya va a empezar, mi rumba buena, va a empezar, a bailar, a bailar, ya va a empezar, ya va a empezar, ya va a empezar, ya va a empezar, ya va a empezar. Ya va a empezar, ya va a empezar, ya va a empezar, ajá, ya va a empezar. So that's what I grew up listening to, and that's how I started in the world of percussion. And then, as I said, I saw many great jazz drummers on TV. See, I was lucky. When I was a kid, jazz was part of all of the cartoons, like the Flintstones. That's a basic jazz chord structure that we call rhythm changes. The melody is just different. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're the modern orange family. Or anybody, well, you're too young, but your teachers will remember this cartoon. Top Cat, Juba-Dupa, the indisputable leader of the band. He's the top, he's the tip, he's above everything. He's the most tip-top, Juba-Dupa, Top Cat. You know? So I got to feel jazz at a very young age, at your age. Okay? We have an email question. John, what type of early training did you have on the piano? John.
Well, of course, classical training, but when I was in high school, growing up in Philadelphia, I was exposed early on in high school to a lot of different types of music, gospel music, Latin music, jazz. Growing up, I heard a lot of theater music. My brother is a theater person, so I grew up with a lot of the great theater music, which actually winds up being a basis for jazz, you know, what we call the great standards that we improvise on. So I feel like my background has been pretty varied. You know.
Okay, we have another question. Okay, from the audience. What's your name?
Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
How many times a week do you guys practice?
Well, at this point, that's a good question. We don't practice at all. We don't get together to practice because we're so busy playing not only with this group, but with various other groups. But we're such good musicians that if we're going to learn a new song or whatever, we'll do it in what we call a sound check. That's like when they check all the microphones, etc., so that everything works well. And we have a lot to draw upon. And you know why? Because we've studied a lot. So the lesson is, if you want to do anything well, you have to study. For example, I graduated from the Berklee College of Music in Boston in 1979. I have a degree in music, as many of the other musicians do. So that's one of our lessons, other lessons today. Study, and that's what your teachers are here for. Anyway, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I would like to thank the students in the auditorium for being with us. Give yourselves a round of applause. I would also like to especially thank the viewing audience from across the country for tuning into the program. And with the dulcet tones of our pianist backing me up, I say to you, if you didn't get a chance to ask a question today, you may contact the quartet by using the email address on the screen. We'd really love to hear from you, and we'll answer any of your questions. We'd also like to invite you to visit the Kennedy Center website at the addresses on the screen. There you will find additional information about this program and the Kennedy Center's upcoming programs, as well as other resources on integrating the arts into the curriculum. Please remember, our next Kennedy Center program will be on Friday, March 26th from 11 to 12 noon Eastern Time, when Patricia McKizak will discuss her novel, Color Me Dark. We hope you can join us. Thank you for being with us. How about a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Now, one of the things that we inherited from West Africa is the aspect that everybody in the tribe must participate. All right? So you're all going to participate. Everybody stand up. Who would like to learn the easiest dance step in Latin America and the most fun? Okay, all of you, all right? So, to do this, I need a female volunteer from the audience. Here we have one. Step right up. Step right. Hurry up, hurry up. We're running out of time. Okay, what's your name?
Raquel.
Raquel. Everybody, a big round of applause for Raquel for being so brave. Now, I'm going to show you the easiest dance step. It's called merengue from the Dominican Republic. If you can count till 2, you can dance this. Don't tell me, I don't dance well, I don't have any rhythm. If you can count till 2, you can dance merengue. Now, the merengue is very interesting because it developed in the Dominican Republic in the 19th century. And just like all the other musics we played, it is a fusion of different cultures. In the 19th century, many Europeans migrated to the Dominican Republic, particularly Germans. And they brought with them music from Europe, especially the polka. And especially this was heard in the coal mines, where many of these Germans worked as coal miners. And the polka, it sounds like this. It's counted by 2s. 1, 2, 2, 2. And if you were to dance that, side to side like this, sort of like swing, you'd hold your partner. Okay, now, what do you think happened when that music from Europe met these African-rooted drums? The stuff got funky. Okay, now, to dance the merengue, it's very simple. She's gonna face me. She's gonna put her right hand in my left hand. My right hand is gonna go around her waist. Her left hand is gonna go around the top of my shoulder. Now, the step is easy. Before we have any rhythm, we're just gonna practice the step. All you gotta do is left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Simple, right? It's like walking. So now we're going to add the basic merengue beat. John, besides being a good pianist, he's a so-so drummer. I'm just kidding. Wait, John. Wait till I cue you. That's all right. Sometimes I forget who the leader is, you know? Okay, ready, John? You say ready. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 2, 2. Okay, feel the beat. I had the cowbell to reinforce it. 1, 2, 1, 2. We had the bass. We just go like this. Left, right, left, right, left, right. And since the merengue is a combination of Europe and Africa, we're gonna put some more of Africa with our hips. Lead her around. Whatever I do, whatever she does, she's gonna be in step with me. One, two, and we bow. Okay? Simple, right? But the good thing is, it's a lot of fun. So who would like to dance with this beautiful young lady? We have a male volunteer. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's go. Come on, gentlemen. Young man, gentlemen, come up here. Okay. And what's your name? Your name is Virginia Tech. No, your name is what?
Ray.
Ray, say hello to Raquel. Okay, so assume the position. Now, we have plenty of room on the dance floor up here. Who else would like to join us? Some more couples, some more couples. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Hurry up, hurry up. This is your chance to be on national TV. Okay, don't trip. Oh, we have a teacher, yeah. Okay, pair off, pair off, pair off. Wait, no, you can stay, you can stay, you can stay. We need a young lady to dance with Superman over here. Anybody, quick, we're running out of time. Okay. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. How about a big round of applause for John D. Martino, piano, and the Eulau, the bass. Jay Collins, saxophones. My name is Bobby Sanabria. Everybody pair off. You can dance in the aisles. Left, right, left, right. Sabroso, chévere, que niña, los ojos negros que tiene, cuerpo flexible, bailalo, la empaliza, que chévere, Padre Juan, no pierda tiempo, Padre Pedro Juan, se acabará el merengue y no ando compilado, se acabará como un perito.